7-1.
The Syrians had rehearsed the initial attack on the Israeli positions countless times beforehand. But apparently, one thing that they hadn't quite planned out properly was where to put the bridging equipment. The Israelis had built a deep anti-tank trench in front of their positions all along the Golan front. But the Syrians had put their bridging equipment far back in their columns. And as a result, the first thing that happened was you had Syrian tankers who bizarrely drove straight at the Israelis, drove right into the tank ditch, and as a result were picked off like sitting ducks by Israeli tankers sitting up on the heights overlooking this anti-tank trench.
For the Israelis, the tank of choice on the rocky terrain of the Golan is the Shot-Kal, an upgraded version of the Centurion main battle tank. It's protected by 152 millimeters of frontal armor and equipped with a 105 millimeter rifled cannon, accurate at ranges in excess of 3,600 meters. The Shot-Kal is a formidable opponent to the Syrians' T-55s.
When David goes out to fight Goliath, he made a decision to fight him with a slingshot. And he knew he could defeat Goliath because he wouldn't enter in range of Goliath's weapons. And from outside that range, he hits him with a rock and knocks him over. I am going to be David. The Syrians don't open fire from ranges further than 2,200 meters, but I, in all my training, can fire and hit targets at about 5 kilometers.
4 kilometers, 5 kilometers. The Israelis understood that in the terrain of the Middle East, where you often had very long fields of fire, being able to kill the other guy before he could kill you was a tremendous advantage. And so the Israelis had put a tremendous amount of effort into developing long-range gunnery skills. When the initial Syrian attack in the north floundered, the commanders decided that they would nevertheless try to mount some kind of a night operation to see if they couldn't get back on schedule. And so they pushed forward in the darkness. And at that moment, they had a tremendous advantage. The Syrian tanks had Soviet night fighting equipment. The Israelis didn't. And as a result, when the Syrians began to push into their lines, the Israelis were at a complete loss as to what to do or how to do it.
The hardest combat was during the night. It was dark and nobody used any lights. When you turn on the lights, immediately they kill you. Really, the main problem is during the night, they had infrared system.
Syrian infrared projectors enabled the T-55s to see through the dark, detecting targets up to 1,200 meters away. It's a huge advantage for the Syrians. The only defense the Israelis have are night vision binoculars that can detect the infrared beam.
In one situation, I was looking to identify them, and I moved my face down, and I saw all the parts of my tank. I was surprised, what is dark? I moved my binocular, and I saw it's dark. I put it again in my face, I saw every part. And I found that 200 meters in front of me, one projector looked straight to my eyes with infrared system, and he identified me, he was ready to shoot. I screamed to my driver, go far away, and we moved back. We shot to the direction they came from, just to give them the feeling that we are there waiting for them. They didn't know that we are blind.
Syrians infiltrate Israeli positions through the night, and the line between the two tank armies becomes increasingly blurred.
One situation, I saw a tank beside my tank, 10 meters. The tank looks strange, and the stoplights turn on. And I talked to the platoon leader. He was close to my tank. He said, there is a tank here, use the light and show me who is this tank. He didn't want first, of course, and I convinced him, I ordered him. And he put the lights, and I saw T-55. I was in shock. Of course, I shot him. This moment when he was on fire, I saw another tank close to him. I shot him too.
After 18 hours of almost continuous combat, the tankers of the 77th and 74th Israeli battalions have held the line in the North Golan Heights and pay a terrible price. Hundreds of dead and wounded, and 75 of their tanks destroyed. But for the Syrians, the price is even higher. The casualties number in the thousands, and more than 100 tanks are lost. But in the open terrain farther south, the Syrian offensive has been far more successful. They've wiped out an entire tank battalion, clearing the way for a push into the Israeli heartland.
Of course, I was as euphoric as all Arabs were to see images of Syria advancing in the Golan Heights.
The future, not just of Israel, but of the whole Middle East, now hangs in the balance.